Hello everybody. I am getting ready for the start of my new class for the love of color, which is a self-paced open entry, open exit class, so you can join at any time and work at your own pace. And it's on sale right now, and it's about to start at the beginning of next month. So I'm starting to get questions about the colors, because one of the main things that we are looking at is the bias of colors and how that affects how you mix color. So any color, any paint pigment color, leans either towards cool or warm. There's no such thing as a pure primary in pigments because they're made out of compounds found in the earth and chemical compounds. So they're just not pure in that way. So knowing which way they lean will help you mix the color that you want every time. So the question that I received was about blues, and I have to admit that I find blues the most difficult to understand and the most confusing. So I wanted to make a little video thinking that maybe I might not be the only one feeling that way and wondering about what colors you have. This particular participant has paints that I'm not familiar with, and she was asking me about which ones were warm and which ones were cool. She asked me first about ultramarine blue, which I listed as a warm blue, and she said it looked cool to her eye. And so she wondered, because I had mentioned that pigments can vary from manufacturer to manufacturer. So I wanted to show you first of all a test with that paint to show you about the leaning. So we're going to take the Ultramarine Deep, just a little dot of it, a little more than that I think. And I'm going to mix it with a cool yellow. We're testing now this ultramarine, trying to determine if it is warm or cool. So lemon yellow is my cool yellow. I'm going to put some lemon yellow in with this. And we're going to see what we get. I don't think I had quite enough paint in there. It's looking a little weak. So I've got 2 tubs of water over here, one for dirty water for washing my brush and the other one with clean water to pick up color. So this is ultramarine and lemon yellow. And the test here is this a bright green or not? Clearly this is not a bright green. So if ultramarine was a cool blue, I would have gotten a clear green. So this indicates to me that ultramarine is a warm blue, or a warm blue. So sometimes it's harder to tell than this, but look at how beautiful that is. And it's not to say that just because it isn't clear doesn't mean that there aren't wonderful uses for it. It just means that it's not that bright, bright green. So you would know if you mix these 2 colors, you're going to get a grade green. So what would happen then? Let's do a secondary test with the ultramarine. Put another little dot of paint there. And this time, I'm going to mix it with a cool red. If ultramarine is a warm blue and I mix it with a cool red, in this case alizarin crimson, I should get a beautiful clear purple. And that you can see here is really a nice purple. Purples, I will say, are harder to mix from other pigments. And you will notice when you go to shop, there aren't a ton of purples on the market either. One of my favorites is dioxazine purple. That's a beautiful purple, but just something to know that it's not that easy to mix them. So this is with alizarin, which is a cool red. And since that is clear, that also indicates that ultramarine is warm. So we were going to say ultramarine is warm. And that's the way to test that and verify. So my ultramarine is warm. I would guess that yours is going to be too. I'm not aware of a lot of difference in that, but it never hurts to test. Okay, now the other issue that she had, or she didn't even mention it to me. It was something that I noticed. She had a phthalo blue in the brand of paint that she has, but it did not indicate whether that was a red shade or a green shade. I'm going to mention to you that Winsor Blue is the same color as phthalo blue. It's just that Winsor Newton calls it Winsor Blue. But they do indicate which shades they are with theirs. And it's important to know that difference because the Winsor Blue green shade is cool and the Winsor Blue red shade is warm. They lean towards cool and warm. So she needs to find out which way her phthalo blue leans. I'm going to just do a couple of little tests here just to show you. This is the phthalo or Winsor green shade. That right there, that's the green shade, and this is the red shade. It's a little bit harder to see when they're very, very intense like that, but look what happens when I thin it down. And this is one of the problems with this, or not a problem, but one of the challenges with this is that it's very difficult for the eye to discern the warmth, relative warmth or coolness of a color. So testing it is the best way to go. So I think you can see these look very similar here, but here you can see that that is more green, or that one just seems more blue. And this is the one that leans towards red, which makes it warm. And this one is cool. Okay, so since we don't know, she doesn't know which way her blue leans, we are going to try, first of all, mixing her blue with a cool yellow. And I'm going to do this for both of these to show you the difference. So this is my red shade. Put a dot of that there. And I'm going to mix a cool yellow in with that. And it's kind of a funky green. Not real clear, not real bright. So that seems to me to be a dull green. Now, if we do this opposite with the cool blue, this is the green shade, get a little bit more than that, and mix that with the cool yellow, you can already tell, right, that that is a beautiful clear green. And if we added a little bit more yellow to it, it's got even more pop to it. Whereas if we added a little bit more yellow to the other, it still stays gray. Grayish, grayed down, more neutral. Okay, so this is clear. So this indicates, because this green is clear, this indicates that the blue is cool. This green is dull, that indicates that the blue is warm. If you're not sure though, if you only had one of these, how would you know if that was dull or not dull? And if this was bright or not bright? Sometimes it can be very hard. So if we take the next step and we test those same two colors with a cool red, let's see what happens. This is the Winsor Blue red shade. I'm going to mix it with Alizarin. And as I said before, purples are not the easiest things in the world to get a nice purple on, but that's not a bad purple there. Okay, so that one seems like it's fairly clear. Let's take the Winsor green shade, a little bit more, and mix it with Alizarin crimson. See how strong that phthalo blue is. Doesn't take much of it. So I find it a little bit harder to tell with these purples that I've got a little bit too much red in there. So let's put just a tiny bit more blue and see what that does. And let's compare that with the first purple with a tiny bit more blue. Put the right blue into it. Yep, I've got a fingerprint on my paper. I get some repelling. Okay, so that does really have more of a grayish cast to it than this does. This one you can see has turned kind of funky, and that is because ultramarine is very sedimentary. So it's a very heavy pigment that settles down into the nooks and crannies of the page, so the colors kind of separate more, which, you know, adds to the challenge a little bit. But hopefully you can see with the comparison side by side that this is a clearer purple and this is a duller purple. So I hope that that helps. So if you're mixing one blue, trying to figure out if it's warm or cool, and you're looking at them, let's just see if we can do this to make this a little bit easier to look at. Looked at this. This green is clearly, you know, it's not a bright green. So that indicates to me that that is a warm blue. And then this purple, it would be hard to tell without a comparison, I have to say. Now then over here, if this was your strip, you've got a nice bright green here. So that tells you that this is a cool blue. And so you don't really look at the purple so much because, again, it's hard to tell, although that is, you know, it's a dullish purple. So I think that hopefully that is helpful for you. Yeah, I hope that this helps. I hope that if you're interested in colors and their biases in color, the other things that we touch on in the class are color combining, how to bring colors together for pleasing compositions every time. And collecting colors for things that you see so that you have a reference materials. So you'll end up with some beautiful reference materials. This is the book that I made for the class with the color bias information here and mixing grays. These are the color combinations with little play abstract paintings to see how they all work out. And then there's another book for color collecting. So I hope to see you in the class. Feel free to contact me with questions if you have them. I will see you soon. Thanks a lot for viewing. Bye-bye.